Hey everybody, welcome back to, like I've been playing this game for like, 8 years, something like that, and I still suck. That's where we're at. HDNM V6T6. Yo, I love a lot of this run. What I do not love is our, lack of rate of fire. If we can sort that out, yo, we got a couple of ergonomic friggin' nightmares here. My chair's too low. My wrists are getting, the circulation's getting cut off by the desk. I raised it up already, yo. Okay, so that's good for damage. It's good for DPS as a result of the tiers upgrade. It's bad for speed, but we had speed to burn. So, I mean, this is a great start. Small rock. Definitely still, I would say, below average DPS, but Holy Light does, a lot of good work for us. I'm noticing, and I very rarely notice this, but some combination of range plus shot speed is leading us to a situation in which we're having a little bit of trouble hitting enemies. Not a staggering amount of trouble hitting enemies. Just, we would like to have a little bit more effective range. Like an SR-71 Blackbird or something like that. Has anyone ever done that yet? Taken the Beatles, Blackbird singing in the dead of night, and it's just the U.S. Air Force SR-71 Blackbird going at like Mach 4 and shooting Hellfire missiles at Soviet warplanes. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. Doing his part to continue the Harry Truman-esque doctrine of containment in the Far East. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arrive. I'm not going to continue with the bit. I think the bit's good. I think the bit speaks for itself. This is the beauty of being an idea man, is you put the idea out, and then people laugh. And then somebody makes it, and they laugh, but not quite as hard. So really, you get all the credit for doing, like, literally 10% of the work at most. It's a beautiful situation. Anyway, where are we going here? We're gonna open this. Yo, it's garbage. But it's, garbage that could be useful for us in a specific situation. I thought maybe we get the secret room there. It's like, jelly beans. Jelly beans are a garbage food. And by that I don't mean they taste bad. They taste delicious. They're a confectionery engineered to be the most delicious food on planet Earth. It's just flavored sugar and syrup crystallized into a form that's pleasant to chew on. But they're not good for you. However, we talked about it on the LSS, but did you know that Jelly Belly, purveyors of fine flavored jelly beans, such as the always divisive buttered popcorn flavor, they make performance jelly beans that are essentially just jelly beans plus electrolytes that are, and I know you're saying, that's dumb. Here's the thing, though. It isn't. I mean, I should not consume them, obviously, but I see them at the grocery store sometimes when I'm walking down that fateful aisle. And I don't buy them because I'm like, 15 jelly beans for $2 is kind of a terrible deal. Maybe the worst deal in the history of deals ever. But, a jelly bean for a layabout, not a good food. But if you're in the middle of a, 9-mile run on a Tuesday night or something like that, around mile 6, you might decide for yourself, my body's crashing hard, I need a little glucose. Is there a more pure glucose food in a condensed and concentrated form than the bean of jelly? I don't think there is. What are you're not gonna eat a Krispy Kreme donut whilst running. Is not anyway, you get the idea. Let's see what we got going on in here. It's like Tetris, dude. There's no bad blocks. There's only bad situations to get a block. Square block is the least... Are you kidding me? Square block is the least universally useful block, but if you got a 2-tile wide, 2-tile high line set up, that'll sort you right out. Okay, we're gonna grab bone hearts for certain. No Krampus, no Krampus. Beauty. Gonna give you a little bit of ability here. I'm gonna trust you not to betray me. You have not betrayed me. You gave me something that I would consider a little bit of a low-tier choice. Never mind. It rules. Just getting, I mean, 2 tiers upgrades out of that is of staggering import. Let's put it that way. So this is an unbelievably blessed run. I gotta say, the pressure's on to some extent. It'll take us months to get there if we start right now. But my good friend Cobalt Streak, he hit 100 wins on his Eden streak. And I am beyond the age of envy, you know? People asked me on the Tuesday stream yesterday, they said, NL, you know, what's your, you know, the deadly sin which you're most susceptible to? And what's the deadly sin that you're least susceptible to? The deadly sin I am most susceptible to, it's not gluttony, it's not envy, it's not wrath, or wrath, it's pride. If it was lust, I wouldn't tell you to begin with. That's not really something you should be privy to. But, is pride. I can be a prideful individual for sure. You know, I can have a bruised ego from time to time. Is something I endeavor to work to fix. But you know, just being honest about it. But what's the sin that I'm best at? What's the sin that I avoid? Sloth. Envy is not even in the... I have to use a key. Envy is not even in the conversation. I'm happy for my good friend Cobalt Streak, but you know, for him to get, let's give this a shot. For him to get a 100 streak, it's an impressive feat. I know he's gone higher than that in the past. But still, that's very impressive. And for me, I mean, I guess I will take this, but it's a little spooky, right? It puts the pressure on to some extent. It says, okay, somebody else out there is rocking that 100 streak. That means, you know, if he can do it, why can't you? And the answer is, I can. We just gotta be better. Play better, stop making, you know, dummy mistakes, and work it out. This run is a great start for that, if that's what we're gonna work towards. We got a lot of fantastic items early on here. I think it's an interesting spectrum to think about. You know, I don't think all of the deadly sins are bad. I think it's a kind of a, you know, it's from a, I don't want to say a bygone era, but it's an old model of looking at things. I guess this is the thing is, you know, all of the sins are bad if overindulged in, but not necessarily bad if indulged in a healthy manner. You know, there's the spectrum of deadly sins, right? Sloth is bad, but so is being a workaholic. Is one worse than the other? I mean, I would say like being aggressively lazy is probably worse than working too much, but I have a little bit of bias in that. You know, being jealous is a bad thing, but being envious can also be a motivator towards, you know, improving your own station in life. And same, being prideful, you know, a healthy level of pride is called confidence, an unhealthy level of pride is called cockiness, you know? Gluttony is the only one, I guess, but that's just because I have no understanding of the other side, like no appetite. And I'm not talking about a one of the modded minerals added in one of the 400 Minecraft mods we're playing right now. I just, you know, if I ever... I mean, there have been days, you know, where I've been in a mental state where I'm like, I don't really feel like eating. But when I'm on the level, dude, appetite is no problem whatsoever. If you ever, somehow you encounter me, and I'm like, yeah, I haven't really had an appetite for like a week, forcibly check me into the hospital. Something's not right. That's a troubling sign. But, you know, I guess if you're the kind of person who doesn't... you know, they find eating to be a chore or something like that, then yeah, sure, maybe like a too little gluttony is plausible, but I don't know. It seems like the rarest one, let's put it that way. I don't know what the 7 deadly sins, because, you know, there was like the 7 wonders of the world, and then UNESCO did like, you know, the 7 new wonders of the world. You know, for the hip crowd, for Generation X, for the millennials. We should do the 7 new deadly sins. What are the new 7 deadly sins? Ghosting. leaving someone on red. That's, I only recently discovered what that even means. That's when you send somebody a message, or somebody sends you a message, you read it, and then you're on a program that gives them a read receipt, which means, you know, they know that you've read it, and but you don't respond. It's like it's a slap in the face, right? It's like, hey, I wanted an answer for you out of this question that I just gave you, and you thought, I'll get back to them later. It was very disrespectful. Not using your signal lights, I do consider it a deadly sin. You've heard me vent about it so many times. The number, if you're 45 years old and you don't use your signal lights, you're beyond hope, okay? But what irritates me is driving in Vancouver and seeing people with the N sticker on their car. N sticker indicates new driver, and they don't signal. And I'm just like, dude, the city let you down. The city let you down. The culture around not signaling here has made it so even as a learner driver, you don't signal. You know how paranoid I was as a learner driver to do absolutely everything right? The handbook says stop at every stop sign for 2.8 seconds. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 That was what I was like. Nowadays, kids, they got it too easy. Not even signaling to change lanes. But Dad doesn't do it. His scumbag workers are trying to unionize too. Anyway, I'm not getting it. You know, that's projecting to some extent. I don't know if everybody that doesn't signal has a father who is a, you know, wealthy anti-union labor disadvocate. You get the idea. I'm just throwing that out there that it invites a further judgment of your character because you clearly don't care about the safety of others. So, I mean, we got like 3 deadly sins here. We'd have to work on some more. If you said buying loot boxes, I think you need to work on your priorities in life, but I kind of like where your head's at. Can I tell you something? So I've been playing Trials Rising, and I've been really struggling to figure out how I feel about Trials Rising. Because it's more Trials, and I like Trials. So that's a big positive. But it's also like, all I want to do in Trials is drive my motorcycle. I don't care at all about, you know, and I'm not, you know, saying that this is something they shouldn't have added to the game. But there's like a pseudo sort of contract campaign story mode. I don't care about it. Hey, bro, you just got sponsored by Fox. I don't care. I just want to drive my motorcycle over increasingly difficult obstacles, right? But the thing that really annoys me, and the obvious answer is, don't interface with it, and I'm one step ahead of you, is that I paid $35 Canadian for this game, which I think is a fair price for a good Trials game. But there's loot boxes in the game. I don't know, I'm assuming you can, but I don't know if you can buy the loot boxes for real money. And I don't really care. If you want to spend your hard-earned money that you exchange some of your time on planet Earth for in order to get, you know, a bright red shirt for your motorcycle, man, it doesn't bother me. It only bothers me because it impacts my experience in this situation as well, because now, like, every third race that I complete, it goes, you just got a new gear crate, bro, sick! And then I go open it, and it takes, like, 5 or 6 seconds to open. Sometimes I, like, sincerely don't even know that I have the loot box, and then I go to the main menu, and it's like, you've got 30 loot boxes. And there's no button to skip past the opening of the loot boxes. Like, it's such a minor complaint, but you know, and I tweeted about this, and I don't want to be that guy who's like, loot box is bad, you know? I think it's kind of like a tired complaint. But, like, I paid for the game. Can you just give me a button that's like, open all loot boxes? Or better yet, be like, you completed this mission. Here's, you know, you completed a mission in Japan. Here's Japanese shirt. You know, that's fine by me too. What's annoying is that because of the modern game design and, well, not game design, but monetization landscape, me as a premium purchaser of the game is still punished, only in a very, very small way. It's a very petty complaint, but I'm still punished by having to go through the slot machine for something that I got for free. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't mind. It's the same, like, and I've been going through this a little bit in Apex Legends. I literally just do not care. I don't have loot box pull anymore. There might have been a time. I don't know. I never really got too into the loot boxes. Counter-Strike Global Offensive is a slight exception, but what appealed to me was not the loot boxes, but the idea that inside of the loot boxes you could pull something that is literally worth like a couple $100. Now, is that a good investment? No, but when I was a little bit younger, it felt like you're opening a loot box not just for a cool cosmetic, but for the chance to, you know, have a real investment on the Steam marketplace or something like that, which now I revile, but you know, it's a growing experience, let's put it that way. In this, like, I'm getting shirts. I can't resell them on the marketplace, not that I would or would want to begin with. And I gotta go through the whole, like, you know, the dopamine cycle that the game tries to do, where, like, you know, the box jiggles and goes like ring, and then it pops open and it goes like, you got a legendary, and then I'm like, oh cool, what is it? It's like, it's a sticker that looks like a smiley face, and I don't care. I just, same again, I didn't really finish my train of thought, but same in Apex, you know, you got a legendary skin. I don't care anymore. Apex, I'll cut a little bit more slack because it's a free game, and I understand, you know. Yo, we're so fast. I'm not militantly anti-free-to-play monetization structure. The thing that irritates me is when a game straddles the line between the two, and the design becomes so intertwined that there's no way to avoid it, even if you've opted into the premium purchase. You know what I mean? So, like, when League of Legends is like, I'm free, but if you want heroes, you gotta pay me a little bit, or play a lot. I'm like, that's okay. And then, you know, Apex Legends is like, I'm free, but, you know, cosmetics are locked behind walls. I'm like, okay, I get it. Overwatch, for whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe it's because I still harbor some goodwill towards the game. You know, I paid $40 for it. I don't know if I bought more than $10 worth of loot boxes my entire time with that game, which probably seems like it's more than I should have, but it was my game of the year for 2015. I think it was 2015 or 2016. Anyway, until people got really good, and then it stopped being fun. And by really good, I mean better than me. But you know, it's kind of a good example where you're like, it's a premium purchase, but then also it's, you know, it's got optional microtransactions. But even more than that is when I buy a game that it just doesn't, it's not even sensible for there to be loot boxes in it. It's like if, the closest thing I can think of, and I know it's not exactly the same because some of Trials' appeal is multiplayer, even though that's not it for me. You can make your motorcycle man look like a gorilla. You can give him a mask that looks like King Kong, you know? So, I mean, for some people that might be part of the appeal, honestly, but I don't care. Tommy Lee Jones from The Fugitive. I don't care. I just, it's like if in Isaac, for example, shouldn't have even opened that. You know, when you beat Mom, it didn't go like, hey, you beat Mom 10 times, you unlock X item. If instead it was like every time you beat Mom, you got a loot box and you open it up and, oh man, takes 10 seconds to open up. No fair, dude, you got Brimstone. I just don't think, and I mean, I'm not being, or not trying at least to be rude to the you know, Red Lynx, the developers of Trials. I just don't feel like it has a place in that game. And the fact that it cuts into my motorcycle driving time is the most frustrating thing for me. It's not that I play the game and my fist starts shaking like, I can't believe they put monetization in this. It's more like, hey bro, why are you trying to keep me from driving my motorcycle literally 99.5% of the time that I've got this game loaded up on my PlayStation 4? Why am I spending even 5% of my time opening loot boxes to get a denim vest? Anyway, my 2 cents. It's just, it's a minor annoyance. But, and I'm not trying to be like Gamers Rise Up. I'm just saying, it's like triple dipping. I'm trying to think of a better metaphor, but I don't know if I can really, if I can come up with one. So we can just move on, I guess. I mean, you don't have to agree with me, that's fine. But do you understand what I'm saying? I think we will take this. And why not this as well, then? I try very hard. I mean, I feel like I do a decent job of taking a reasonable position when it comes to the needs of a developer, the needs of a publisher, and the needs of a consumer, if that makes sense. I feel like sometimes I get, maybe not slandered, but unfairly portrayed as being pro-corporation, just because so much of the slant in YouTube games journalism is aggressively, I don't want to say pro-consumer because I feel like that's unfair to me. I would say considers only the needs of the consumer. You know, and I don't think anybody disagrees with this, what I'm about to say in particular, but you know, the company has to make money to continue to make video games. It's not fair. The most common criticism I hear or response to that is like, well, if you just made great games, you would, you know, make money. But there's many amazing video games that did not do well enough to recoup their budget. And I don't think it's necessarily fair to say, well, you know, they should have made it cheaper then. You know, people always point to, like, a few games that are literally like masterpieces. You know, why can't every game just be God of War? Okay? I mean, if every game was God of War, that would be amazing. But, you know, that's kind of like, I don't want to say it's lightning in a bottle, but it's not like, I genuinely do think a lot of people in the games industry, a lot of people that watch games industry adjacent content, they really think that, like, developers and publishers go to work and they're like, all right, well, we're gonna make a game today and we're gonna make it like a 6 out of 10. Shouldn't we make it a 10 out of 10? Like God of War? No, that's stupid. We're just gonna make it like a 6. Just for whatever reason. But anyway, I'm not trying to necessarily get into that too much. Since this is an XL floor, I will pop that. But so as you know, circling back to my original point, I try to strike a balance of fairness. You know, if you have a free-to-play game or you have a game, and I think Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege, these are good examples of this. You know, a game that is going to have an extended lifespan. People are going to buy it once for 50% off in a Steam sale in 2017, and they're going to play it for 4 years. And, you know, you're going to keep making, you know, new maps, new heroes or characters, etc., etc. Having microtransactions and selling those seems fair. I agree. But why, oh why, in my game where I'm driving a motorcycle, do I have to watch the loot box animations? I just don't get it. And I don't know. I was thinking about this, because again, it's the pettiest complaint. At the end of the day, every time I open one of those loot boxes, it's just 5 seconds of my life gone. That's not a big deal. But I think it's kind of unfair to be like, you know, oh, so the gamer's complaining about 5 seconds of his life. You know, imagine like you were getting a fountain drink at the movie theater or something like that. But in order to get the drink to pour, you had to watch a 5-second ad that was just like, you know, buy Tide. You know, it's not. I mean, hey, hey, you big baby. What are you complaining? You're still gonna have to wait 5 seconds for my soda. Wham! But like, but why though? I bought your game. I bought the soda. Why do I have to watch an ad? I mean, and that's what, without getting too galaxy brained, I guess. That's what the loot box animation is, right? It's just a couple of numbers flipping around in the back end. The animation itself is entirely unnecessary. It exists to sell more loot boxes. So the loot box animation, opening animation, in and of itself, is an advertisement for more loot boxes. And a reward for buying the loot boxes if you enjoy the animation, I suppose. And I already bought the soda. Why are you trying to advertise Tide to me? So there's more tangents in here, like, you know, hey, United Airlines, I already bought a seat on your flight. Why do I have to watch an ad for Mercedes before you let me watch Intervention? But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. I'm really not trying to be Gamers Rise Up. I don't care if EA charges you $20 for a gun skin in Anthem. don't buy it. I don't care if Ubisoft, you know, is charging $9 for a gun skin in Siege. I just won't buy it. But if I'm forced to open the packs, or if the packs are there on my screen and they keep going like, hey buddy, open the packs, dude. In a game that I've paid full price for. I don't know, it just kind of rubs me the wrong way, I suppose. I guess another thing is like Trials, and I've been enjoying the gameplay of Trials, but Trials has like a perception issue there as well, where, you know, when you buy like a loot crate in Overwatch or something, in your head you're like, okay, this goes to ongoing development of the game. Whether or not it actually goes to ongoing development of the game, I don't know. I don't know Blizzard's cash flow situation. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, right? But that's how I use Sharp Plug accidentally. That's how it feels in your head. For Trials with loot boxes, I'm like, you already made the tracks. Like, you made the tracks and I paid you, and then, you know, we're done. We don't have to, there doesn't have to be an ongoing transactional relationship here, you know what I mean? Anyway. Really, I'm not offended as a quote-unquote gamer. I'm offended, again, on like a design level, which I talked about, you know? It's way too easy to be like, you know, if something's poorly designed, be like, no, the gamer doesn't want to think, don't make me think. But like, really, you know, why would you deliberately make something that forces people to think when you could make it easier? I mean, thinking is not always created equal. You know, if you have to think about how to hit the brakes on your car in order to not crash into the car in front of you, you're going to crash into the car in front of you with a greater incidence rate, you know? If you don't have to think about it and it's second nature, that's good. It doesn't mean the car is poorly designed or, you know, it's for anti-intellectuals. I was thinking about this today because I saw, how does this work? I saw a tweet on Twitter, and the tweet, by the way, is a joke. I recognize this. I'm not trying to be pedantic. Do we have, we don't have Bookworm. Let's use Data Miner once. Sure, why not? With Mom's Knife, that seems fine. And the tweet was like, you know, this is what happens when you design an intuitive UI. And then, it's a couple of guys, and they're in like an electronics store. By the way, I cannot aim. I can't aim my knife. Or, like, I can aim it, but look at it. What on earth is happening? I can't charge or aim my knife. I gotta tell you, strikes me as a problem. Is it mouse related? No, it's just like always stuck on my character. Okay, this is an interesting one. Anyway, so they're in like an electronics showroom, right? And there's a water dispenser, you know, like a water cooler. That's what they're called in the human world. And the dude keeps using the water dispenser and then pouring the water onto his hand accidentally because he's using it incorrectly. And then a dude comes over to him and goes, no, 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 that's not how you do it. And they just keep increasingly using it in functional but non-intended ways, if that makes sense. And all I could, the irony is, remember, the tweet is like, when you design a beautiful, elegant UI and your users don't understand how to use it. The irony is, the dude is clearly using a cup that is too small to be practical for the water cooler. And I was like, dude, how about when you think you've designed something that's elegant but refuse to listen to feedback from your users about how to make it? Your user is like, hey, every time I use this with the cup you gave me, my hand gets wet. And they, you stupid user. You know, how about you redesign the what's the word for it? The spout, you know? How about you redesign the faucet so that it goes deeper so they can put the cup on it without getting water on their hand? Anyway, it's just like, why? That's where I'm at with Trials, and I know I've been talking about the same thing for the whole episode, but it looped into a more, you know, universal sort of thing with reference to the loot boxes anyway. But, you know, the game was not, the design of loot box monetization doesn't make sense in Trials. Why am I having to interface with it in a game in which I paid full price? Anyway. Northernlion, welcome to the Resistance. So, we should still win, but we have encountered, and I don't know what we did to deserve this, essentially, but we have created just an awful, awful run. It's truly terrible. I don't think I'm going to take this. I know this seems weird. I want to save it just as an insulator in case things go terribly wrong. But, okay, we still had the great damage potential at the end of the day. You know, it all worked out. But do not take what we took there. It ruined it. We almost ran into trouble. For now, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. And I want to add, I like Trials Rising so far. It's just getting pulled out of the experience to get new bandanas. It's annoying. Yes, well, don't do it. Well, but there's the little number 8 in the corner that's flashing red that says open loot box. Anyway, for now, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya!